Mic check and screen share check, please. Alrighty, let's get started. This is Nightly Strategy Podcast for August 31st, 2022. Let's start with the market 150, by which we mean the 150-day look back. Here's the low, there's the high, so that's the range right there. We're about at the 40-yard line, about 0.40 on that scale. If that's 100 and that's 0, we're down now to about 40. This is where you would expect to start seeing this support level taking effect. You'd like to see this rebound from here instead of coming all the way back to this. Boy, that would be discouraging, because that would be a 2/3 retracement off the 30-day high. So we're about running out of patience with this thing for this to be a Kata 2. It would still be a Kata 2 if we get that move, because you have these higher support levels. But again, we're running out of patience, and we're below the key 400 price level. 390 is in range on the downside. That's the 30-day low. If that cracks, it's down to 380. So that's about 15 or 18 bucks to the downside. That's another minus 5%. We're already back to 17% off the swing high. This was as high as up here. This was at minus 11%. Or minus 10 and some change. So we've fallen 7% more from the peak to that trough. So that's not good. The PSAR flip was a reliable signal. That was not the sound of surprise in my voice. So we remain in a critical state here at the new 10-day low. The 5-day range is now large. This 5-day sell-off in here has been large enough to make that beginning to be volatile. So if that's the 10-day range from here to here, and that's the 5-day range, you can see that the 5-day range gives you most of the 10-day range. So that is becoming, by definition, very volatile. Time for some Godzilla up in this business. On the market daily, this is the market 30 look. So now we're looking, 30 days back, and we can see we've been now oversold, except for this minor blip, almost 10 full days. The MACD is getting to an extreme reading. Closed at the low of the day to make a new 10-day low and a 5-day low. The daily range is starting to get large. This is 3 down days in a row after this one big move. So we're into a 4DD right now. So from this peak here, we had 1, 2, 3, 4 days. So we are in a 4DD. If we got one more close, like tomorrow, below this price level, that would constitute a 5DD, and then that would sort of be our official setup. But we also know in a bear market that a 5DD failure is a strong move down. So really a 4DD failure, like as soon as it fails below 395, we got to be on that one. Bearish normal, and it's failing. That's not a surprise, and we're only 7 days into this downward trend. And remember, the bear says that's the primary trend is down, and we've seen before that thing could last 30 to 40 days in a trend. And if we're only 7 days into the downward trend, yeah, so 380 is certainly in play on the downside. Here is the market, the 10-day look back on the 30-minute chart. So this is now the 5 days, and this is the 10-day look back period, minus 10. So here was today's move, basically straight down. It violated the belly of the RL10 and the PSAR, which makes this officially a collapsing dragon, just like this signal was collapsing dragon, just like this signal was collapsing dragon, just like this signal was collapsing dragon. You're noticing a theme here? Collapsing dragons in bear markets are your friend. We closed below the minus 80 on the Williams percent R. The PSAR is down, so this is free range chicken to the downside if it continues to fail tomorrow. Taking it one day at a time. Let's look at the sector performance now. All right, so here's our baseline. The S&P was down another 0.76% today. Treasuries were the only one that was worse at minus 1%. It's at 111.88. So again, in that trading range of 110 to 120, if we put the midpoint at 115 on the treasuries, treasuries have sold off now. It got as high as 113.5 and has now come back down to like 112. So there's about a $2 buffer. So there's an $8 upside move. But a breakdown below 110 would be triggering a breaking of a previous support level. So I would consider treasuries to be in a critical state in the bottom of that $10 trading range and ready to collapse further or ready to rebound nicely. So we shall see. To the upside, diamonds were only off 0.75. The Russell was off 0.6. The Q's off 0.58. The best performing of our sectors, emerging markets, was in the green at 0.36, and there is the boundary between real gains and real losses. Let's take a look at the downside first. So this is where the weakness is, and we'll start with the sectors first. Again, the baseline of the S&P. Energy was off 0.9. This little cluster here, tech, consumer discretionary, I should say, and the Aussie dollar off about 1%. The next cluster of weakness, wheat and precious, lithium, materials, VIX, commercial real estate is off from 1.13 to 1.7. Real weakness here in Mexico, blended commodities, Brazil for a second down day, and then oil was off 3%. These were off between 2 and 2.25. Individual companies that really suffered. Another bad day for the metals, all of the metals, so that should not be a surprise. Cliff was off 1.8, Alcoa off 2.5, U.S. Steel off 3.38. So our whole metals sector down big another day. And then the only other target that was below the S&P individual company was Apple, disappointing off 1%. So that's the downside. I'm ready to trade metals. When the metals are the most extreme on one day, that just means it could be an extreme recovery or another extreme move down, but metals are in play, so that should be on your short list for finding movers tomorrow. All right, let's look to the upside. Baseline again, the S&P off 0.76. This is Constantine. with 4.2 off a measured low, minimum risk box 4.2. There's a couple COTA 2s that could have been 9R. Here's 10.8 total for the day out of DAX and gold. So he's making his, he's getting those collapsing dragons for 4.2. He's getting an SSC for 1 and another 2.4 off this SSC. And we've seen that one. And that one opened it twice. Sorry. All right, here's Tim with 2.7 on crude. So he plays the breakdown from this little shelf. 1, 2, 3 exit, collapsing dragon reentry, gets paid. Tries the SSC, stops and reverses, scratches out all of that, gets the first taste, a couple scratches, and then gets the SSC. So he keeps firing. He's minimizing his losses, and the law of large numbers says that's going to work. So 2.7 for Tim, pretty good shape for the day. This looks like less. I like this short. I like the quick exit. I like the re-entry when the dragon rolls over and the RL30 rolls over and the PSAR flips. Then a second position and a third position, and nails that for 2.3. Re-entry, very nice. Another 0.43, so 2.26. Nice all the way. And then he noticed from last night, we're in a bear normal. Remember the market condition, not in a hurry to go long. He doesn't bite on the SSC, but just simply takes the continuation down for 2.25. Good work. Here's my brother looking at Devon Energy. 1, 2, 3 entry. Takes the PSAR flip for a second position. It breaks above, and then he's got some money in hand, so third position, because why not? It has cleared the previous peak and the RL10, so that's an emerging dragon. And then all out at the PSAR flip. So for 14 and 4, that's about 18.5 R. And then the PSAR flip, second position with 2 R in hand, quick cover. So that's about 21 R. Standard position, 300 shares, $1,800, 5.5 hours. That's $325 an hour. Just using standard sniper trade patterns. Standard work. Here's Les with the New Zealand dollar. Gets paid. Nice work. And so he makes 2.7 when it was hard. And the PSAR flip with standard work would have been here with an exit 1, 2, 3, probably there, probably would have made another 2 to 3. There was probably a PSAR flip where that starts working, but that's really good work. When you can make that kind of money in both directions with that kind of oscillation and still bring in 2.7, that's pretty good work. Let's see, more work on the Aussie or on the New Zealand, on the Kiwi for 2.5. He's playing the Z3 pinch breakout, getting paid for 0.8. Gets the PSAR flip to the downside. Nice work. Quick scratch, PSAR flip, and gets paid for 1. So another 2.5 today. So that's 2 days. The other one was from yesterday. They didn't have time to post. So that's starting to look pretty solid right there. Luke with the 5-minute Aussie. For 1.9. So this is a Kata 2 breakout. Gets paid. Kata 2 reentry, second position. Gets paid. He keeps the scratch. We might have gotten a little more out of this, but you gave it the maximum amount of room to keep going, so I'm not worried about that. Quick scratch. I love the reentry, and obviously had things to do. Quick scratch. Some micro losses in here. This got getting chewed up, which kind of ate up most of this. 2R for the day after 6 grinding losses in a row and still walking out with 2R. That's a good day at work. Here's Woj on the on Devon. Gets the first piece. Here's our reentry. Stop trading because of a meeting as per usual. Here's Tesla. The quick short that gets paid. You and your meetings, man, we've had this conversation. Very nice opportunity trading there for 1 and 0.4. Pretty good discipline. And then Godzilla, how to fix any Thomas Kincaid. Godzilla was certainly enraged today. So lots of goodies to choose from. And we'll get this. I'll get the recording sorted out. I may have to go back over the report and record a separate voiceover. But good work. You guys are crushing it in the room. That's everything I got for today.